For today's episode of the Power of Music show, we are going to look at Bring Me the Horizon's signature song, Throne, and look at 5 reasons why this song has become such an iconic signature in their catalog. First reason why this song is so powerful is in their iconic hook. Let's listen to the beginning of the song. So I want to dig really deep into this iconic hook that they have. It's a really strong one, and from the first time I heard this song, literally I was captivated by this hook. Now if I had to play that on something like acoustic guitar, it goes like this. That's not very strong, is it? This is a great example of how through production, actually, which is like the final element in 4 stages of music making, which is the songwriting, arranging, and performing and production, right? In production, you could work on something, you could put effort into it to make a particular part iconic or memorable through creating unique sounds. That tone that they came up with for that part and all the editing that they do to create add the rhythmic interest in this otherwise very simple line is what makes this part iconic. So songwriters, take note, if you feel that a song is decent in its raw original form and is in need of more hook to be added somewhere later in the process, it's totally possible to do it in arrangement, performance, and production. Now notice, it is very simple. At least on the surface. It just has 3 notes that you repeat over and over. That's part of the iconic nature of this hook, in that the hook is something that you create by removing all unnecessary notes. It's really easy, especially for accomplished musicians, to just cram in a lot of notes because they could, right? But then if you want the song to be impactful, you want it to be memorable, and you want it to be iconic, you get there by removing notes. Removing all notes except only the essential notes that absolutely have to be there, and then put them at the time when that's the only timing when it makes sense for those notes to be there, and then you have a hook. Notice though that this hook has a very distinct rhythmic motif. It goes something like this. Notice how distinct that is. Even if I took away the notes and just repeated the rhythm, it's still kind of a memorable pattern, right? So rhythm is a very important part of something, very important part of what makes any particular part memorable and hooky. And the band knows this, so they incorporate that into the minimalist 3-note motif, but then combine it with this distinct rhythm, and there you have an iconic hook that captivates the audience from the first time they hear it, and then they will remember it after they hear the song, and then they want to come back and listen to it. And all these are sort of best practices or approaches that can be repeated at will, and that if you spend time, if the artists, producers, arrangers spend their time, once they understand what makes the part so hooky and so captivating, they have no excuse not doing that in all their songs. Next reason that I want to focus on is about the lyrics and the lyrics' alignment with the artist's identity. Bring Me the Horizon and their music is all about defiance and rising above challenges and difficulties. And this song is like the epitome of that spirit in terms of the message. Let me read you one of the key lines from the refrain. It goes like this. So you can throw me to the wall. Tomorrow I will come back, leader of the whole pack. Let that sink in. I mean, it's such a strong visual image of a astonishing defiance to say, you can feed me to the wolves, but instead of having me devoured, I'll come back as their leader. Just think about the power of that sentiment and how vivid that image is. Now, lyrics is all about show not tell, and it's often more powerful to speak through the metaphor. So instead of saying, yeah, I'm defiant, give me problems, I'll rise above it, right? They deliver that message through that imagery and metaphor here. And that is in perfect alignment is their identity as a band, is that as an artist, obviously in art you can talk about anything, but if you talk about anything and everything, you end up being unclear about what your artistry is about, or a lot of good artists tend to have certain theme or central topics or subject matter that they are just really passionate about expressing. And that is a normal and welcome thing in any recording artist's career. In fact, it is encouraged for artists to, whether they consciously do this or not, just really identify what the key message, what is the thing that you cannot not say to the world through their art, right? That is the most important thing that you want to tell the world through your art. And when you create pieces that align to it, that will always come out most strongly because it's aligned to the strongest passion that you have in you. The next point I want to make about the song's power is the alignment between the lyrics and the rest of the music as far as being focused around the central feeling or sentiment. This is one of my pet peeves with popular music, or any music for that matter, is that a lot of times if you look at the lyrics and just sort of take it by face value, just look at the lyrics in isolation and see what kind of feelings you get, and then if you listen to the music and see what kind of feelings you get, they're often not in alignment. I'm not saying that they have to be exactly the same, but if you're writing vocal songs with lyrics, it's infinitely more powerful if the words and music work cohesively together to create a powerful whole. And this is a great example of that. So let's listen to a bit of the chorus here. Every word will shape me, every scar will build my throne. So if I were to play that chord progression for the main chorus and the refrain part, it goes like this. So notice in the basic harmony, that sense of defiance is already built in. When you listen to that, even if I'm playing on acoustic guitar by itself, you listen to those harmonies and go, yeah, this is fist pumping kind of attitude, right? And in particular, I like how it's important that, you know, it's a big jump going up in this situation from the first chord to the second chord, because a big gap creates a attention grabbing movement, and then going up builds the energy. And then when you come down, it goes to settle on this chord, which is flat 7, and then this is a chord that also has a sense of defiance, but it's a perfect one to go back to the original one, right? When you listen to this riff in like this, and then you end up on this chord, that makes you go, ooh, yeah, I want to do that again. The next point I want to discuss is the big contrast the band creates between different sections of the song. Let's listen to one of the verse parts.
Build me an empire, so don't even try to cry me a river, cause I forgive you. You are the reason I still fight. So you can throw me to the wall. Tomorrow I will come back, leader of the whole pack. Beat me black and blue. Every word will shake me, every scar will build my throne.
So notice in that verse part, there's no bass, firstly, and the drum groove is completely different, and there's not much going on even in terms of like any background accompaniment to the vocal that is really defining the harmony. So the harmony is very ambiguous there, right? Which is a strong contrast to pounding and propulsive refrain parts and the main chorus, and it's a strong contrast in multiple ways, right? In terms of the instrumentation, how thick and thin it is, it's very different. The rhythmic groove is very different from verse to the chorus to other section. In fact, in the bridge, the rhythm completely drops out, and you get this static sort of free form type. It's not necessarily free. It's not necessarily free time. But you don't feel any sense of pulse or rhythm in the bridge. And then of course the vocal delivery also is different in that the verse has this clean singing melody line, and then he starts screaming in the refrain or pre-chorus part. And then here's an interesting bit. The true chorus of this song is what I might call a non-singing chorus, and it's pretty rare in a vocal-based pop or rock song to have non-singing chorus where the main parts, the main hook is delivered by somebody other than the singer. But it is a great move here in that with lesser acts, I think they may be tempted to put some kind of words or at least sing the main refrain part, going ta 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 la da ta 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 la la, something like that, right? But they didn't do that. They let the strong hook of that instrumental part, the synth part, just deliver the hook, and the vocal gets out of the way. That's something I wouldn't say is the reason why this song is powerful, or at least not necessarily like the main reason. But it does make the song more uncommon, and being uncommon is definitely a good thing in terms of making the song stand out. But generally speaking, creating strong dramatic contrast between different sections of the song so the listener can instinctively realize, oh yeah, I'm in the chorus, oh yeah, I'm in the bridge, or you know, whatever I am at right now is not like the part that came before. And that difference is part of what really improves the listenability of the song's ability to entice the audience to come back over and over again and listen to it again, because there's just so much dramatic sort of development going on. It's like a story, or it's like a journey, and that is very satisfying to listen to. It just it's a lot harder to get tired of that compared to songs that have a lot more static thing throughout. And the final point I want to make is what I call a gesture. This is not a bar song. This is not even a club song. This is an arena and stadium type song. Why? Because the contrast is so big, and when the band kicks in, the intensity is so high. It is really a song where you have to stand up and move your body to it. And if you're on the performing side, you just spread your arms wide and raise your fist and just really deliver this song with big gestures, right? And this is one of the, how should I say, defining ingredient in determining whether a particular artist is suited for big audience or not, in that this is not totally bulletproof. There are certainly exceptions, but artists who appeal to large audience tend to have big gestures, and that larger than life feel that you get from their performance or from their songs is what sort of inspires us to listen to that, because it sort of takes us out of sort of everyday doldrum, the same old stuff, your house and your bedroom and your bathroom kind of thing, into something far larger. And the thing is, if you are holding back at all, if you're at any bit uncomfortable about just making those kind of drama come out alive, you can't deliver this. And that's one of the things I love about rock music, is the rock music is the high intensity, ballsy, badass, full of life energy kind of music, more so than any other genre of music. You can't make rock music if you're timid about it. You have to go all in, and you have to be comfortable just letting go and just letting it rip, and just be 100%, 110% committed to your passion and to your art to really authentically deliver rock music. And then that kind of energy is what leads to us having cathartic experience, where again we are just taken out of the everyday reality into something much more intense, something that's more engaging, something that is very much rewarding in terms of the experience. Now, that's not to say that big gesture is the only valid gesture, right? Smaller gestures, music that is meant for more intimate spaces, more intimate audience, totally valid. Again, depends on what your artistic persona is or identity is. Are you really destined for big gesture or big audience or big spaces to fully sort of express or realize your art, or is it better in a smaller place? And both are totally perfectly valid thing to do. It's just that the smaller music or smaller gestures, it is a little bit easier to execute because it's a little closer to our day-to-day reality. You don't have to travel as much. But if it's a big gestured music, you have to be bold enough, you have to be courageous enough to travel the distance and get to this mindset or this mind space where you let go of all restraints and just go all in and rock out. And in my opinion, that's one of the things that audience may not totally appreciate about some of the famous big artists, is that they made it big because they were willing to fully embody their big gestured music. That they, for whether they had challenges or they had something to work through, or maybe it just came naturally to them, but they had this rare, and it is rare, it's not common, ability to just embody huge dramatic gestures. And it's easy to be the Sunday afternoon quarterback and criticize or pick apart any artist's moves or songs from the comfort of your home, but I do hope that more people perhaps realize what it must take for some of these artists to show up and be larger than life, and the stake that they have to deal with, that it's a high stake, high risk kind of situation, because if you do these dramatic things, there definitely is a risk that you're going to come across like a fool or stupid when it doesn't land well. And the bigger the gesture is, the bigger the risk, and only those willing to take that risk, and that's not the only sort of reason an artist make or break, but it's certainly one of the necessary ingredients in terms of coming out successful on the other end, is to be willing to take that risk and embrace the big gesture. So that's something I totally appreciate about these artists who come out with big gestures. Alright, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching. If this video kind of inspired some new thoughts or new ways to appreciate this song or this artist, please let me know in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.